Hey Joni, okay, so thanks for getting this in. Here are your finals. Good exposure, nice composition, nice framing in between these two trees here. Good exposure, again, nice composition, interesting stuff in the foreground, a middle ground, and a far background, very good color. Number 3 here, again, good exposure, good composition. Number 4, really nice image here. I actually really enjoy this one. I like this nice long, easy to look at lead in to this old house here. And then we have a 5th image. So make sure whenever you're putting together an assignment, don't include extra images for your finals. One of the reasons why we ask for a specific number of images is so that you have the experience of editing yourself for a client. I'm here, I am the client, and I say, please give me, contact sheets because I want to see all of the shots, but I don't need to see details of them, and I want you to tell me what are the best ones because I don't have time to figure that out for myself because I'm a client and I'm super important, right? So that's what we want you to do. So even if you love more than the required number, you just have to sit down and think about it and pick out your favorites, okay? And and use your previous classes here at AII to identify which ones are the best. You've taken a composition class, so you can use composition. You know a lot about exposure. You know whether or not you want to prioritize the shadows or the highlights or the midtones. So use those tools to choose your best images. And certainly never give us anything that's out of focus unless it's really on purpose. Okay, and then also, that being said, for your PDF, and I'm just really picking everybody apart on this week so we don't have to deal with it the rest of the class. Your PDF is really low resolution. So when you're outputting your PDF, make sure that you default to very high resolution PDF. I don't care how big the file size is. Believe me, my system can handle it. If the file size is too big for you to upload on your system, you can break it up into 2 different files like you did here. But make sure they're always PDFs because it's just the most reliable form of transfer. But if you need to break it up into 2 files to quicken the upload, that's fine. Best case scenario, everything that you turn in for each assignment is all in one multi-page PDF. So I have your contact sheets and your finals and your equipment shots all in one multi-page PDF. So when you output that PDF, choose high quality, and then also make sure that your default monitor size is the largest possible monitor size. PDFs open to automatically resize to whatever monitor you're using, but if you have a default to a small monitor size, when this thing opens up full screen on my computer, it's super pixelated because it's probably only somewhere between 1 and 200 DPI, which is pretty low. I'm using a really big monitor, and I want to see a nice big high quality image, and that's typical for a client as well. So make sure that you fix those things on your Acrobat. Just default to much higher resolution PDF output. Okay, now let's look at your contact sheet. Here's your contact sheet. It's not fully in frame, but I think we get it. So the assignment didn't specifically call for it, but every week on your contact sheet, I want you to label your images with your exposure settings. And in this case, it would have been helpful to know which one was incident and which one was meter. So I can't really tell you, I can't give you any technical feedback on these other than composition because I don't know what your exposure settings were. And I'm not going to take off for that this week because I really just let people focus on figuring out their meter, and I didn't demand too much with turn-in. I'm only throwing this information out right now because for the rest of the class it'll be an expectation. And it'll also be in the assignment instructions, so don't worry about it. Okay, so you said that you had better results with reflected metering. And then with incident, you felt like you were getting an overexposure. And I do see some really overexposed images. Specifically this one and this one down here. Other than that, though, they're all kind of they're in an acceptable range. And I'm wondering why, because we expect, for this assignment, we expect the incident to be much more accurate than reflective. Now, remember, your meter in reflective mode, your meter is giving you exposure setting suggestions, that will yield a medium gray local value out of whatever bit of subject matter you're pointing it at. And so you might have, like other people, just conveniently been pointing it at something of medium gray local value. For instance, whatever this is, you're probably pointing it at something in the middle of the scene, and right here, that's actually medium gray. Water has a medium gray local value. Living vegetation has a medium gray local value, mostly. Not always, but usually. So that might have just ended up working out for you. The only thing that I can guess why you would get overexposures in incident is if you had the Lumisphere pointing, in the shade. It was just shaded for some reason. That'll give you an overexposure. And just do a little test, humor me and do a little test. Take your light meter outside on a sunny day and do an incident meter reading in the shade and an incident meter reading in the bright direct sun, and you will see a huge difference. So it's really helpful to meter both shade and sun within incident mode and then take an average of the two exposure values. Okay, other than that though, I mean, it looks pretty good. I can see that you definitely have different results throughout your composition, so I know that you're using your meter so good. I only get really worried if I see that all the exposures are exactly the same value, and then I'm like, oh, clearly you didn't use your meter. But you did. Okay, so great. So that looks pretty good, and I'm glad that you're able to get your equipment together. And I will see you in the next assignment. Thank you.